I was 34 the spring my parents reminded me, once again, of my place in the family. We were sitting at their kitchen table in Columbus when my mother glanced at my empty ring finger and said, "Camille, you know Vivian was already chasing Rowan at your age." I kept my voice steady. "I am doing fine. Mom," Dad folded his newspaper. Fine is not the same as settled. They spoke softly, like people giving helpful advice. It always landed like a verdict. Vivian swept into the room with her usual glow, her sons clinging to her legs. "Mom, Dad, the boys want cereal," she announced, and the entire room shifted toward her. My parents lit up the way they never lit up for me. Mom kissed Vivian's cheek. "You make motherhood look effortless." Vivian smiled, then looked at me. "Camille, could you take the boys to the living room? They get restless." I did. I always did. Rowan handed me a toy car. Silas climbed into my lap. They liked me. That counted for something. From the kitchen, I heard Mom's voice drop. "Camille is independent. Thank God. She will be fine no matter what happens." Dad agreed. It is a blessing she does not need much. I sat there with the boys pressed against me, hearing it all. In this family, being fine meant being overlooked, the one they never worried about, the one who would carry the weight without complaint. If you have ever felt like the background character in your own family, stay with me. Stories like this one deserve witnesses. The day distance finally closed in on me was already coming. I just did not know it yet. Vivian called me on a Tuesday night, her voice tight and shaking. "Camille, he is gone. Derek is gone." I sat up in bed. What happened? He left. He took clothes, the good laptop, even Rowan's tablet. I found messages from some woman at his office. Her breath hitched. It has been going on for over a year. I heard dishes clatter in the background. Mom must have rushed over. Dad's voice followed, heavy and rehearsed. "Vivian, we will figure this out." When I walked into their house, Vivian was curled on the couch, eyes swollen. Mom stroked her hair. "You married too young," she whispered, though it sounded more like nostalgia than comfort. Vivian looked at me like she was bracing for judgment. I did not see anything. Cam. I did not want to. "I know." I said, "Tell me what you need." Her shoulders shook. "Rent is due in 2 weeks. Derek shut off the joint account." Dad exhaled. "Our savings are tied up. We cannot cover anything right now." I nodded. "I will handle it. At least for a while." Vivian sobbed harder, not out of relief, but out of shame. "Thank you," she whispered. "I do not deserve you." I squeezed her hand. In my family, love meant stepping in before anyone asked, and once I stepped in, no one ever wanted me to step back. 2 weeks after covering another rent payment for Vivian, my phone lit up with Mom's name. Her voice was bright in a way that felt practiced. "Camille, honey, can you come over tonight? We have wonderful news." Dad's voice chimed in the background, low and approving. Vivian said nothing, which told me more than anything else. When I arrived, everyone was already seated in the living room. Mom patted the cushion beside her. "Sit, sweetheart." A thick navy folder rested on the coffee table. Dad nudged it toward me. "Open it." Inside were crisp documents stamped with a real estate company's logo, pages of mortgage terms, and a photo of a 3-bedroom house in Grove City. I blinked. "You bought a house." Mom nodded eagerly. "For Vivian and the boys, they need stability." Vivian gave a small, fragile smile, the kind you wear when you are not sure if you should be grateful or terrified. "That is great," I said honestly. "The boys will love it." I closed the folder and pushed it gently back, but Mom stopped my hand. "No, sweetheart, those papers are for you." My stomach tightened. For me, Dad leaned forward, calm and confident in a way that made the air feel heavy. "We have agreed that you will take over the mortgage, about $1,650 a month." Vivian's eyes dropped to her lap. Mom clasped her hands, her voice soft. Camille, this is the good news. You are the only one who can do this. The room waited for my response, already certain of my role. For a moment, no one breathed. The only sound was the soft rustle of the mortgage papers as I set them back on the table. I am not sure I understand, I said carefully. Dad cleared his throat. It is simple. We purchased the house for Vivian and the boys, but she cannot afford the payments. You can, Mom added. You have always been responsible. Camille, this is not a burden for you. Vivian finally lifted her head. I did not ask them to do this, she whispered, her voice thin. They told me it was already handled. Mom shot her a look. We handled it because you needed help, darling, and Camille can step in the way she always does. The way she always does. I steadied my breathing. The payment is over $1,600 a month, for nearly 30 years. Dad nodded. And you make enough. You have no dependents. It balances out. Mom leaned closer, her tone warm in that way she used when she wanted compliance. Honey, family lifts each other up. Think of this as giving the boys a real home. I have already helped, I said quietly. Rent, the divorce retainer, emergencies, thousands of dollars. Dad waved a hand like brushing off dust. That was temporary. This is meaningful. Vivian's face crumpled. Cam, I do not want to drag you into my mess. I do not know what else to do. I looked at her, then at our parents, so certain, so entitled, like the decision had already been signed in ink. I am not taking the mortgage, I said. The words dropped like stones. Mom's smile vanished. After everything we have done for you, Dad's jaw tightened. We expected more from you. Camille, I stood before my voice could shake. I am not doing this. And I walked out, hearing my mother say behind me, she will come around. She always does. The first call came the next morning. I had barely made coffee when my cousin Lila's name flashed across my phone. She did not bother with a greeting. Camille. How could you do that to your sister? I pressed the phone to my ear. Do what? Promise to take the mortgage, then back out. Vivian is devastated. My grip tightened. I never promised anything. That is not what your mother said, Lila snapped. She told everyone you agreed weeks ago. I closed my eyes. Lila, that is not true. She exhaled sharply. You do not get it. Vivian has 2 children. You have none. You should help. Then she hung up. By noon, the messages were constant voicemails, texts, even comments on old photos. Uncle Brad family steps up. You embarrassed us. Aunt Jolene. If you will not support Vivian, who will a cousin I barely remembered? You always thought you were better. Each one landed like a shove. Every lie they repeated traced back to my mother. That evening, Vivian called. Her voice was small. Cam, Mom said you told them you would pay. I did not correct her. I did not know how. You could have told them the truth, I said. Silence stretched between us. I am sorry, she whispered. I am drowning. And they think you are the answer. My throat tightened. I am not their answer. Before bed, I sat in my car with the engine off and let myself cry the way I never allowed inside that house. Not because of their anger, but because I finally understood how easily they believed I existed to fix them. I wiped my face and went inside to the quiet. 2 months passed without a single call from my parents. The silence should have felt like relief, but it carried a weight that sat behind my ribs. On a gray Thursday morning, a certified envelope appeared on my doorstep with my full name typed in bold. Inside was a summons. My parents were suing me. The claim read breach of implied family contract, intentional emotional harm, and financial responsibility to support a dependent sibling. They demanded $300,000 in damages. I called Vivian immediately. Did you know about this? Her breath hitched. Mom said you left them no choice. No choice. My voice shook. They invented a contract. Vivian. She whispered. I told them you were overwhelmed. Mom said you were pretending. I hung up before anger turned into something worse. That afternoon, I sat across from Jennifer Madsen, a lawyer recommended by a coworker. Sharp suit, steady eyes, the kind of calm that made you believe she had seen far worse. She flipped through the documents. This case has no legal foundation. No court in Ohio recognizes an implied family contract. They are hoping you will settle out of fear. I am not paying them $300,000. I said. You should not, she replied. But they will try to break you emotionally before we get to a judge. I swallowed. What do you need from me, Proof? She said. Every transfer you ever made, every receipt, every favor documented. We will build the timeline they pretended does not exist. For the next 3 weeks, my nights filled with screenshots, bank statements, and old emails from my parents asking for a little help until the pension comes in. I found transfers I had forgotten, $200 here, $500 there. Rent for Vivian, the divorce retainer I paid with a credit line. Each line item was a reminder of the version of me they depended on, the one who never said no. By the end of the 3rd week, Jennifer had a thick folder. We are ready, she said quietly. I nodded, though a tightness pulled at my chest. Ready was not the same as unafraid. The courtroom in downtown Columbus felt colder than the March air outside. Fluorescent lights hummed above us as I sat beside Jennifer, my hands folded tightly in my lap. Across the aisle, my parents sat stiffly, Vivian between them, her face washed out and unreadable. The judge entered, silver hair, slow gait, eyes that missed nothing. My father stood first. Your Honor, we are not unreasonable people. Camille made a commitment to support her sister. When she abandoned that commitment, it caused financial and emotional damage. The judge adjusted his glasses. Mr. Harlow, did your daughter sign any agreement to this effect? Dad hesitated. It was understood. Understood by whom, the judge asked. Mom lifted her chin. By all of us. Families have obligations. Jennifer rose. Your Honor, may I respond? He nodded. She handed him a packet. This is a compiled record of every financial contribution my client has made over the past 4 years. Rent payments for Vivian totaling $5,800, a divorce retainer of $4,200, multiple transfers to her parents during times they described as hardship. Mom gasped. Those were private moments, not evidence. The judge's tone held no sympathy. Mrs. Harlow, you filed a claim requiring your daughter to pay $300,000. Those moments are now evidence. Vivian finally spoke. Mom, Dad, she did help. A lot. Dad shot her a warning look. Vivian, this is not the time. The judge turned to her gently. Ms. Kent, do you believe your sister owes you a mortgage for your home? Vivian's lip trembled. I never wanted that. I did not stop them. Silence spread across the room, heavy and unforgiving. Jennifer stepped forward. Your Honor, this lawsuit is not about support. It is about control. When Camille refused to assume a 30-year mortgage she never agreed to, her parents retaliated. That is the entire case. Mom's voice broke. She abandoned us. No. The judge corrected sharply. You attempted to force her into lifelong debt. He closed the file. I will review the final details and issue a ruling within the week. As we stood to leave, my father stared through me like I was a stranger. Vivian whispered, I am sorry, Cam. Her apology landed somewhere between guilt and fear, and the distance between us felt larger than the aisle that separated our tables. The judge delivered his ruling 1 week later. I sat beside Jennifer as he read from a short, unmistakably final document. After reviewing the evidence, he said, The court finds no legal basis for the plaintiff's claim. The demand for $300,000 is dismissed in full. Mom's hand flew to her chest. Dad stared straight ahead, jaw locked. The judge continued, his tone sharpening. Furthermore, the evidence shows that Ms. Camille Harlow has provided significant financial support to her sister and parents over several years. The court finds the plaintiff's actions coercive, manipulative, and deeply inappropriate. Jennifer placed a steady hand on my arm, but I kept my eyes on the bench. When the judge stood, it was over. Outside the courtroom, my grandparents, Elliot and Joan, were waiting. Grandma pulled me close. "You were brave," she said. "Braver than any of them." Grandpa nodded. "What they did is theirs to carry now, not yours." As we walked to the parking lot, my parents stayed behind with Vivian. I did not look back. That night, no one called me. No one apologized. The house was quiet, and the quiet finally felt like something that belonged to me. Spring settled slowly over Columbus by the time I found a small house in Clintonville. 2 bedrooms, creaking floors, a yard just big enough for tomatoes. I signed the papers without telling anyone. The silence afterward felt earned. Vivian called once in April. I moved back in with Mom and Dad. She said quietly, "I could not keep the house. I hope the boys are okay." I replied, "They miss you," she whispered, then added, "I miss you too," before hanging up. Life steadied. I adopted a gray cat I named Marble. I started seeing Julian Cross, a quiet man who never pushed when I avoided talking about my family. For the first time in years, my days felt mine. Then, nearly a year after the trial, an email arrived from my parents. No subject line. "Since you now have extra space, we think it would be best if Vivian and the boys moved in with you. It will provide stability. Let us know when they can bring their things. Love. Mom and Dad." I read it once, then typed back, "I will not be hosting Vivian or the children. Any similar message will be reported as harassment. Do not contact me again." I hit send, blocked the address. If you are still listening, if you know what it means to choose peace over blood, stay with me. Stories like these matter because someone out there needs to hear them. That evening, Marble curled at my feet while I watered the tomato plants. The house was quiet, and for the first time in my life, the quiet felt like safety.